Event is the Aseret Difference, Ten Commandments, but there's a little known part of the parasha beforehand that I want to discuss as well. All right? Begins the words Vayishma Yisro, page 394.
394.
394. All right? Vayishma Yisro, Yisro heard. Kohen Midyan, Chosin Moshe, Eskalasha Elokim Moshe, everything that Hashem had performed for Moshe ben Yisrael. So Rashi says, what exactly did he hear? Right? The first Rashi, Ma Shmua Sham Uba. What did he hear? And then he came with that. Kriyas Yamsuf u'Melchamas Amalek. He heard about two astounding events: Kriyas Amalek, the splitting of the sea, and the battle with Amalek. Okay, so splitting the sea, pretty impressive. I mean, more than pretty, it's very impressive, right? I can get that. Wow, this is your God. He can pull this thing off, and he really cares about you. I want to check this out. So Yisro hears and decides to join the Jewish people based on this very impressive outing, Kriyas Yamsuf, and what it all represents. But Melchamas Amalek, why is that a reason to join the Jewish people? Because they were attacked by a nation? That's why you're joining? Doesn't make much sense. If anything, that's the reason why you don't want to get, right? Why wouldn't it be part of something where you get attacked? Doesn't make sense, right? So some people understand that's really a combination of both. That it's not two different ideas, two separate ideas, but it's one and the same. Yisro said, well, this doesn't make sense. There was Kriyas Yamsuf. I saw it. Everybody saw it. That's really incredible. It's very impressive. It shows how much Hashem cares about the Jewish people and what He's willing to do at every great length to save them, and how everything about the splitting sea was so measured for each individual Egyptian. And yet, Amalek will attack the Jewish people after they saw this event? Whoa, what does that mean? That means that I can't trust myself to live in this outside world, a world where people could see the truth and somehow it goes right over their heads. I need to join the Jewish people to make sure I'm protected, to make sure that I internalize these truths. Because I realize it's not safe out there. Because look at the world around me. People can see events like the splitting of the sea, and somehow it doesn't change their perception. If anything, somehow it encourages them to attack the Jewish people. This makes no sense. I need to join the Jewish people. I need to join a people of truth. Because the world out there is not truth. You know, there's certainly a really, an important lesson here about how unless you listen and internalize it, you miss the boat. It says Mashmua Shama Uba. It doesn't say what did he hear. Because Yisro heard, but it doesn't say what he heard. It says what did he hear? Uba, and that he came. Two things are amazing: what he heard, and the fact that he's willing to come. That he's willing to be proactive and do something about it once he heard. A lot of people hear. A lot of people can see miracles, but are they willing to do something about it? Are they willing to internalize it and let it make a difference in their lives? There's a famous story, I don't know if you heard this story, from Volby, a famous mashgiach who, from Eretz Yisrael, passed away. I think he's originally from Holland, actually. Switzerland. He passed away maybe last year, 2 years ago, and he tells over an incredible story that while he's traveling in Israel, he got into a monit, a cab, and the driver was, I think, a Sephardi fellow, not religious. And he sees Rav Volby. He goes, "Oh, I thought that you're religious. You had a long white beard. Pretty much gave it away, right? Looked pretty religious." He said, "My friend became a Baal Tshuva. He became religious." Rav Volby goes, "Oh, that's nice, wonderful." He goes, "Do you know why?" He says, "No, I'll tell you the story." And he tells this incredible story that he and his friend were in the army. And they were posted in the desert or someplace where I don't know exactly where they were. Maybe it was up north. I don't remember where it was. And all of a sudden, his friend he hears a tremendous scream from his friend, tremendous shrieking. And he and his friends run, and they see this strangest sight, a horrible sight. His friend there's a snake that has twirled himself around this friend and is squeezing literally the guts out of him. What do? Can't shoot. You shoot the snake, you shoot the person. They thought it's all over. So one of his friends, I don't know if it's religious, not, tells him, "Say Shema Yisrael. Yeah, that's your last breath." So he says Shema Yisrael. Even if he was not religious, he knew Shema Yisrael. He says Shema, and the craziest thing happened. He said the snake slithered away. He said, "That's why my friend became religious." Unbelievable. So Rabbi said to him, "And what about you?" He goes, "What do you mean, me? The story didn't happen to me." right? And he meant it with a straight face. He wasn't joking. What do you mean? What's that got to do with me? Right? Hello? Right? What do you mean what's that got to do with you? Right? Amalek saw Kriyas Yamsuf. Yisro saw Kriyas Yamsuf. Yisro says, it's got to do with me. There's a lesson here. Amalek, right over his head. So that's why Yisro, I got to join the people. Because if I stay out there, that's what's going to happen to me also. I'll miss the messages. I got to go to a people of truth. That's one idea. The other idea is that when he says, there are two separate ideas. He heard about splitting the sea, that was impressive. And he also heard about the Battle of Amalek. Now, what's about the Battle of Amalek that would make it enticing to join Jewish people? So I'll tell you another story. A story about a fellow named Usher Wade. You ever heard of Usher Wade? I don't think you probably never heard of Usher Wade. You've heard of Usher Wade?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Usher Wade is the son, he actually was born in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. He's a son of a Presbyterian minister, if I'm not mistaken, right? Did I get that right? Pretty sure.
I don't know the denomination.
Yeah, I think
it's
it's
a minister or something.
Yeah, minister. I think it was Presbyterian. Whose father also was a son of a Presbyterian minister. So he's got a yichus, a big yichus of Presbyterian ministers. All right, and I don't recall exactly, but he and his wife decided to do some Holocaust studies. What's about the Holocaust? I think they're history majors, getting a PhD or something like that, and they started going to Germany to study more about the Holocaust. They went to Germany. And obviously they had lots of questions. A lot of things didn't make sense, but in particular, the silence of the church very much bothered them. And they kept asking questions. How could the church be so silent? What happened? And the more they asked questions, the more they got stymied and stonewalled. And the more they said, what's going on? This doesn't make sense. Why would people let this happen to Jewish people? Why could it happen? How could it happen? They said, what is it about the Jewish people that people just turned a blind eye, didn't care? So they began to study about the Jewish people. And the more they studied about the Jewish people, the more they said, this is incredible. This is incredible stuff. And they both decided to convert. Both he and his wife converted. He became a rabbi. I forgot his name in English, but now he's known as Rabbi Usher Wade. He teaches in Israel, in Or Sameach, and I think a few other places as well, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously very religious. He's really one of the big rabbis there, you know. And it was, what got him was the obsession with the Jewish people made no sense to him. How could it be that people really just could care less about the Jews? What is it about the Jews? And what is it about the Jews that Hitler was so obsessed with the Jewish people? And we all know he almost lost the war. He transferred a lot of weapons that he needed in Russia. He sent it back home to finish killing the Jews. It didn't make sense to him. Same thing with Yisro. He says, I don't get this. The Jews come out of Egypt. They're at war, they're torn, they're wiped out, they're a slave nation that's barely, getting out of Egypt. They want to go to the land of Israel. Amalek, why are you threatened by them? Why do you feel the need to attack the Jewish people? What do you have against the Jewish people? What is it about the Jewish people that you feel so threatened by? And that's what piqued his curiosity. Was it about the Jews? What is it about the Jews? And that's really Melchamas Amalek. The fact that, not that they defeated Amalek, that Amalek wanted to attack the Jews intrigued him. And he realized it's because maybe the Jews represent something that people don't like to hear. It's called truth. Nobody likes their alarm clock, right? Nobody likes their alarm clock, and that's what the Jews were. But that's what got him thinking. Why the obsession with the Jews? And we know that the world, it does obsess. I remember a guy once told me, crazy story, that he had a friend in Russia. Man, in the early 70s, they're letting all the Jews out of Russia. It was a whole big thing. So this friend of his got out, and for whatever reason, he wanted to go to Israel. He heard so much about it, but he ended up in America first, in the first leg. He was hoping to get to Israel. I don't know if he ever made it there. But anyway, he says, I got it. Where is Israel on a map? And they showed him a map, and at first glance, he himself assumed that he pointed to Canada. He said, oh, this must be Israel. He figured he heard so much about Israel, and they're friends with America, and they're a big country, and Canada's got all this big space. This must be Israel. He said, no, that's Canada. So where's Israel? So he points to this little speck on the map in the Mideast. You can't even put those ISR, they probably don't even fit those letters, don't even fit in the map. And he's blown away. What? This is what everyone's talking about. This is what the whole world's fighting over. He can boggle his mind. That's exactly what Yisro did also. Why us? So that's what really pulled Yisro in as well. Aside from the Kriyas Yamsuf and the splendor of everything represented, but the flip side also got him going as well. Okay, so Yisro comes. And there's a little short story before the main event of Seres Dibros. And in this story, Yisro goes to Moshe. Moshe, he sees Moshe Rabbeinu standing in judgment of people, or sitting in judgment of people, and there's lines at the door. Lines and lines and lines. And he says to Moshe, what is it, the DMV over here? What do you mean such huge lines? This makes no sense. I have a great idea. Why don't you delegate? And Moshe goes, wow, that's great, smart, right? That's a great idea. And he does it. And Yisro and Moshe decide they're going to get special judges, ones that are honest and hate money and have no interest in money. So cuts, by the way, parenthetically, if you know the cuts was very the quintessential truth. They were all about truth. So the Kutzka once asked, or somebody once asked the Kutzka, how can you really find people that are so honest and hate money? How can you find that? So he said in Yiddish, but I'll translate it. He said, for money you can find anything. for money you find money. You'll find someone. All right? Anyway, bottom line is that Moshe agrees. And the question is like, Moshe could, this is not exactly, brain surgery. Why couldn't Moshe Rabbeinu think of this himself? To delegate. All right?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Yitro that tried all the
yes.
everything,
yes.
every religion that existed,
yes.
and then it came to Judaism?
That's correct. Yes. That's
so he did try everything, and then
yeah, but that's right.
Got nothing.
No, Yisro was the first. Yeah, he was the first convert, absolutely, and but that's a different story. Yes, Yisro tried. It says he was telling every avodah zarah. He tasted every. He was a hippie. He experimented with everything. He was an experimenter, as he was exactly, 100%. Okay, but anyway, so this Yisro. So we have to understand why Moshe Rabbeinu. Why did Moshe think of it? So first of all, Yisro came with a very. Yisro was a person that had a very discerning eye. That was his midah. He saw everything with a critical eye. I don't mean in a negative sense, but he was able to see and as an outsider coming in, this made no sense. He sees long lines, everyone's waiting. It doesn't make sense. But Yisro didn't have the vantage point of Moshe and the Jewish people. You see, there's an expression called Ava Mekalkelis Ashira, that love distorts a straight line of logic. What he didn't understand that the Jewish people would gladly wait in line forever to have the opportunity to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu himself. Are you kidding? Wouldn't I rather speak to Moshe Rabbeinu? And Moshe Rabbeinu said, I would rather wait in line to speak to every Jew too. He didn't understand the love dimension that both parties were willing to wait as long as it took. But Yisro came with his logic, his cold logic, and said, this doesn't make sense. And Moshe Rabbeinu eventually acquiesced and said, you know what, maybe there's a piece of logic I should consider, because right now my love is almost blinding the logic. Okay, that's one explanation. All right. I'd like to share with you actually a few different explanations, and they're not really mutually exclusive. It's interesting, Yisro, actually when he says, why don't you take, the big cases and give everybody else the small cases, Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't really agree. Because Yisro says, you take the davar gadol, you take the big cases, and everyone else will take the davar cut in the small cases. Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, I'll take the davar kasha, the hard cases. He switches from gadol, which is big, to kasha, which is difficult. Meaning, Yisro saw in his mind, listen, the small claims court that you don't have to bother with. The big stuff, the $1 million lawsuits, you'll deal with that. Moshe Rabbeinu says, no, there's no distinction. To me, it's no difference if somebody's stealing $5 or $5,000. Geneva is Geneva. Thievery is thievery. What Moshe agreed to is, listen, kasha, things that are more complex. I'll handle that. And I'm willing to delegate the other stuff. In fact, another thing that Yisro was thinking was like this. He says, Moshe Rabbeinu, it's true. You can handle this better than anybody else. You're more equipped. But isn't it smarter to show the Jewish people that it's not only you that has a Torah? Isn't it smart to show the world and inspire the Jews that, there are lay people that can learn Torah and they can also therefore dispense justice. Show the world, show at least the Jewish people, that everyone has access to Torah and everyone studies hard, has a right, if he knows the halacha, to be able to render decisions. Rather than think it's only you. They'll think it's only you, and they'll remain somewhat ignorant. And we know in Judaism, we're just the opposite. We emphasize, Ha'amidu talmidem harbe. It's important to emphasize that we want to not have students dependent upon us, but independent. Ha'amidu means to make stand. Let them stand on their own. Give people Torah so they can think independently. In many religions, we don't want that. They discourage that. We want you to not think independently. We want you to just totally be ignorant and just rely on the leaders. No, he just says, I know what Torah is all about, and therefore let's show the people that they too can master Torah. That's another thought. Okay. There's another thought. This is kind of I'm putting the word cute in quotation marks because it's really clever. By the Netziv. The Netziv is like this. The Netziv says, in halacha, if somebody, in a monetary situation, somebody comes before a court, it's really incumbent upon the judge to first recommend pshara. Pshara means compromise. No, you try to work out some compromise. So one party doesn't win, and one party doesn't lose. They both walk away with something. This is an art to the compromise, and you should recommend compromise. Pshara. That's what you should do first. However, there's one instance where you can't offer pshara. If when they present the case to you, it's crystal clear to you at that moment who's right, who's wrong, then you can't offer pshara. It's only before you make that determination you're allowed to offer pshara. But if you know with crystal clarity who's right and who's wrong, if you know who the halacha sides with, you can't offer pshara at that point. So Yisro said, listen, Moshe Rabbeinu, you know the halacha so crystal clear, you can never offer pshara. So why do you delegate to those that can offer pshara and maybe more peace and less contention? That was an interesting vantage point, and I thought it was a clever idea. But now I want to share with you a fifth idea. I think it is. I don't know, but a fifth idea, right? And we're going to answer another question as well. This exchange between Yisro and Moshe, according to many, if not the majority of the commentaries, said this story actually took place post the Torah being given at Sinai. Now the Torah is going to be given here in just a few minutes, in a few psukim, but it was written earlier, and that shouldn't be too disturbing because we have this principle called Ein Mukta Me'ucha by Torah, that there's no given that everything written in Torah is written in chronological order. Torah is not a history book, as we say, and so it's this particular portion, according to many opinions, maybe majority opinions, say that this Torah portion actually took place after the Torah was given, but it was written earlier. Now, even though it shouldn't be astounding to us, we have a right to ask why. Because it's not randomly done. Hashem doesn't just do eating, meeting, mighty, mo. There's reasons why He does it. In fact, the primary reason is because the Torah is written as a lesson book. So even if a story happened later, but if that's a lesson that has to be learned earlier, the Torah writes it earlier. Because it's written for the purpose of lessons, not for the purpose of history. Okay, but we have a right to ask, why? Why is the Torah right over here? So I want to share with you a different insight into this exchange. Now they tell this joke about this. They say, how many times does it take to tell a German a joke? So it's 3 times. You have to say it once, then you have to explain it to him the second time, and the third time, when you say it again, he finally gets it. And then, how much an Englishman? Yeah, say it twice. You tell him the first time, explain it the second time, but he's too snobby to admit he didn't get it, so you don't tell it, right? Then you tell it to the Frenchman, he gets it after the first time, all right? And a Jew, you don't get through even once. Halfway through the joke goes, no, I know this joke already. You're telling it wrong. Let me tell you tell it right, right? And there's an element of truth to that. But not just about jokes, about almost everything. And that is that very often, somebody says, I gotta tell you this incredible story. And halfway through you go, I heard that story already. Or even the Dvar Torah. I want to show you the Dvar Torah. Halfway through you go, I heard that already. Right? Why are we doing that? Partly because your ego says, I know it already. I want to show you I know it already. But why would you steal that guy's thunder? This he's feeling good. I want to share with you a story, or even a joke, right? It's something like the Dvar Torah. And somehow we have to think, I know it already. And cut him off the pass and steal his thunder, and because you want to show that you know it. I think the Abarbanel says this. I'm not sure. The Abarbanel says that's precisely what happened over here. When Yisro made that offer to Moshe, that suggestion, that was already in Moshe's mind. Moshe was waiting until after he taught them more sufficiently, he was going to appoint judges. But once Yisro made that recommendation, rather than Moshe going, yeah, I plan on doing that already, he wanted to let Yisro feel like he made a contribution to the Jewish people. So he kind of played along and said, wow, Yisro, that's a really smart idea. And he gave him the opportunity to feel like a giver. So the reason why this Torah portion is written first, even what happened afterwards, because this is a lesson in Derech Eretz. This is a lesson in how to conduct yourself. And we know the rule is, Derech Eretz, Kadma LaTorah. Derech Eretz has to precede Torah. So the Torah takes the lesson of Derech Eretz and puts it before the Torah was given, to teach you that lesson of Derech Eretz, Kadma LaTorah. Because before a person can really imbibe Torah and understand Torah, he has to have proper midos, Derech Eretz, Kadma LaTorah. And it could very well be, that's one of the reasons why this Torah portion is called Yisro. You know what Yisro means? It comes the word Yeser. You know what Yeser means? Extra. 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 You know why it's called Yisro? Because this whole Torah portion, this whole first part, is totally extra. Because Moshe would have done it on his own. But the Torah specifically put it down and wrote it to teach us an incredible lesson in Derech Eretz and sensitivity. Make sense? Okay. So that's the first part where Yisro comes. Okay.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Is Yisro a prophet?
Was he a prophet? No, it doesn't say he was a prophet. No. No, he was a great man. He was extremely honest. He was a brave person. He was somebody who was we spoke about this once. He was the head of the Midianite religion, and he rejected it, which was not easy thing to do. His whole family was ostracized. But he was a truth seeker.
He was the Pharaoh's treasure keeper.
Yes, yes, he was. Yisro was there when Paro had made this recommendation. Had the final solution, and Yisro ran away because he refused to be part of it. Right?
He took a lot of
Wow.
treasures, a lot of keys from
Yeah.
treasures.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So Yisro was a special man.
The fact that his name is on a parasha, probably
Yes.
the most important parasha of the Torah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The
That's right.
Ten Commandments
Yes,
is
absolutely.
must have a
Absolutely.
reason.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the Ten Commandments. All right. So first of all, it's important that it says like this. Let's get the right page over here. Oh, first of all, it says Vayisvatzu b'tachtas ahor, that when Moshe went to greet Hashem, the Bnei Yisrael stood under the mountain. It's a very famous phrase, under the mountain, because God lifted up the Torah and said, "This will be a burial place." Everyone knows that. I'm not going to spend time just for one little thought. And everyone knows that the obvious question also, which is, why would Hashem have to force us to take the Torah? First of all, we're not too into religious coercion, but besides that, why would he force us to take a Torah when we voluntarily accepted it? We said, Na'aseh v'nishma, so we're willing to take it. What's the point of him forcing the Torah upon us when we voluntarily accept it? So if you recall, I'd spoken about this a few weeks ago. Remember we talked about luxuries and necessities? Remember we talked about that? So this kind of fits into that exact idea. That even though we said Na'aseh v'nishma, which means we're opting for the Torah, God says, I want you to realize, even though you're opting for it, don't think it's an option. Cars have options. They have tinted windows, tilt the steering wheels. You can do without it. Hashem said, I know you said Na'aseh v'nishma, but I want you to know this will be your burial place means you can't exist without it. It's a necessity as well. For the Jewish people, Torah is a necessity as much as it's a luxury. All right? That's based on what we said earlier, that kind of fits in over here. But the Baal Shem Tov has a different insight, which also is very simple. He said, Hashem was saying, yes, you opted for the Torah. You're excited for the Torah. And I don't blame you. You're excited. You understand. You're looking forward to this. You understand what it means to have a direction in life and be connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu. But you know what? Now you're really in the mood for it. What happens when you're not in the mood? Why is he not in the mood? What do you do then? Hashem said, I'm forcing the Torah upon you. Means a Jew has to realize that we keep the Torah when we're in the mood and we're not in the mood. There'll be times in a person's life that you simply won't be in the mood. And Baal Shem also uses terminology called mochen, the godless, and mochen, the katnus. These are Kabbalah terms, which essentially mean when you have an expanded state of mind, and you really, everything's like clicking, and sometimes when you feel this restricted state of mind, and you don't feel so connected, all right? But I'm using more modern terminology of being in the mood and not in the mood, but it's essentially the same idea. And that is, Baal Shem saying that, look, in any relationship, you get married, we're very excited. And most of the time, hopefully we're in a great mood to have a relationship. But guess what? Sometimes we're not in the mood. But you still have to have that relationship. You still have to have every sense of responsibility, even when you're not in the mood, so to speak. Right? You can't be, there might be moody blues, but you can't be moody Jews, right? You can't be moody Jews. You have to be someone that, no matter what, we're committed. So Hashem said, there'll be times you're not in the mood. But that's when you have to stick with it as much, if not as more so. Okay, I'll just say, what time is it, by the way?
Almost 8 o'clock.
Okay, I'll share with you one thought now, and maybe we'll continue a little afterwards. Okay, so it says, "Vaydaber Elokim es kol dvarim eila." Hashem spoke all these things to the Bnei Yisrael. So what does all these things mean? So Medrash tells us that he said the entire Ten Commandments in one moment. In fact, it's not fathomable to even understand it. Therefore, he had to repeat it one at a time, and then after two, Bnei Yisrael said, "We can't even handle that. You tell it to us, all right?" But what was the point of Hashem saying all the Aseret Debus in one? I mean, we can't even say it because we can't say two words at once. But he said the entire Ten Commandments at once. What was the point? Was he just trying to show off? What do you think? What do you think it means? Why do you do that?
He wanted to make sure that everyone heard from him.
Okay. You figured they probably fall asleep halfway through? Like he knows the Jews that we tend to fall asleep during speeches? Maybe.
You can't choose.
Huh?
Could be that they're all equal.
Can't pick and choose.
All equal. All equal is a good
So
idea.
not one before.
Okay, good.
Or don't pick and choose. You
Don't pick and choose. They're all okay, good. And you're all correct. I want to just add one more piece. This is very interesting about mitzvahs in general. Mitzvahs are independent of one another, which means even if you're not keeping Shabbos, you got to keep kosher. Right? They're independent, but they're also interdependent. It's not this very unique relation with each other. They're independent. They're whatever you could do one, you should do one, even not doing the other. But understand, there's also it's part of an interlocking system that. Keeping kosher helps you Shabbos. Keeping Shabbos helps you kosher. Much like a body, even though maybe the limbs work independently, but obviously when you have a whole system that's healthy, you function much better. The entire system works better. So when Hashem presents the Torah as one moment, Hashem's like, it's one system. You need to understand that these mitzvahs are all interlocking. They're all connected to one another in some way that they feed off each other. That's one idea. All right? Now, I'm going to end with this thought, and that is that we know the Ten Commandments. We'll talk about this a little more. There's 5 on one side, 5 on the other side. The first side essentially governed man and God. The second said man and man. And we also know, this I'm sure we've talked about before, there's also a relationship, a correlation between the first commandment and the sixth commandment, the second and the seventh, the third and the eighth, fourth, ninth, fifth, tenth. So the first one is an obvious one. I just want to mention one point about it. I think it's a nice little thought. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your Lord. And that's sixth one is what, people? Don't cheat. I'm looking at the luchas over there. Actually, it's not even over there. I don't think. No, it's not even on there. What's the sixth commandment? Do not murder. Lo sirtzach. So what's the connection between the two? What's the connection? Tell me. 1 and 6. What's the connection?
No, I created you.
What?
I'm
Okay.
Anochi, everybody is part of Hashem. When you kill somebody, basically you're
Hashem.
killing part of Hashem.
Okay, good, very good. I would say a little more practically speaking, because you can't kill Hashem. What it means like this: every person has a unique part of Hashem inside of him that he's supposed to bring out into the world. If you take away that person's life, you're taking away that part of Hashem that should have been brought into the world. So it doesn't mean you literally killed Hashem, but you've killed the Hashem that this person was to bring out the world with his uniqueness. All right, that's simple pshat. I know, simple. That's pretty much pshat. I want to share with you how everything so fits so beautifully. Remember, after Cain killed Hevel, yeah, Hashem says, "Where's Hevel?" So what does he say? Am I my brother's keeper? What does he say in Hebrew? Hashomer achi anochi. Am I my brother's keeper? But understand now me something else. I didn't realize Hashomer achi anochi. I didn't realize my brother is a shomer of Anochi. Anochi Hashem Lakecha. I didn't realize that inside my brother is a Anochi Hashem Lakecha that I robbed the world of. That's what he's saying. Hashomer Achi. I didn't realize when I committed this sin that I was killing the Anochi in my brother. Mm-hmm. That's the words. That's why Anochi Hashem is connected to the Sirtzach. Hashomer Achi Anochi. I didn't realize my brother is the protector and the one that brings out the Anochi that he can bring out no other way. I didn't realize the gravity of my sin. Hashem Achi Anochi. All right, we'll stop here. We'll pick this up right after Mary.
Thank you.